Hey, Abe.
Yes, Jared?
Sorry, I was in a K-hole.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to That's History, Babe. I'm Jared.
I'm Abe.
And we're doing pretty good tonight, I think.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Check us out.
Check us out.
Do you like our outfits? This is real mink. I did not buy these. I would not buy new fur.
Is it really?
Well, the cuff is.
Oh.
My jump scare. My ex-boyfriend.
Whoa! Whoa!
His sister got these for me in Latvia.
Latvia?
She was like, I got you a gift when I was in Latvia, and she came back and it was these red gloves.
Looking like Martha May Huvier over here.
Literally. And also they have the little touch thing though, so you can still use your phone with them. But it is real fur, which I would not have purchased for myself.
Well, that's kind of thoughtful. I mean,
you know,
the
shout
fur,
out.
the ethics of the fur is
yeah,
a
I'm
different
like, I feel like if someone
conversation,
I feel like if someone knows me, then they know that that's like not my thing.
Right.
But now I have them, and poor little mink died for this, so I'm never gonna get rid of them.
Right, and that's so that's like what you get in addition to being to that man, the one that got away.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. There's also, if you can tell, you might be able to tell if you're watching on YouTube, but for those who can't tell from the sound of our voices, there is a significant strain between Abe and I right now. There's a huge source of tension.
Something happened
between us because something really serious did happen this weekend.
Something really serious happened. Wow.
Abe and I kissed this weekend.
I liked it.
Abe and I did kiss. And now things are just really awkward between us.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that things are ever going to be the same. I really don't know whether or not we'll be able to continue doing this podcast.
This might be our last episode.
This might be because I can't even look her in the face right now because
I can look you in the face, no problem.
I just feel I've started to get all these feelings and emotions, and now I feel like
have that effect on people.
I feel like everything is ruined about our friendship and our working relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm just not. I'm sorry. I don't want to get emotional, but like I just don't.
It's okay.
No, please don't. Please don't touch me.
We do have photographic evidence, though.
We have a few photos.
We do. And I as I'm going in for the kiss, you can see Jared's fear and trepidation.
Because there had been a lot of pressure put on me to agree to the kiss.
They're like,
and then
you're
when
a
it's
gay and a lesbian. Why can't you kiss? I said, that's my point exactly.
And then when it started happening, I was actively backing away. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But it was by that time it was too late. It was too late.
Okay, well, you're making it sound like I did something to you.
I did agree.
He did.
Of my own free will. It was
there
consensual.
Was consent.
There was consent.
To be clear.
There was written consent as well.
We had a contract.
We have a contract.
Just like 50 Shades.
So.
I love that scene.
Where he makes her sign the contract.
You would.
When I just a small tangent. When I went to the theater to watch that movie, it was the first time I felt what I thought was like wanting to pee.
But you were horny.
Yeah. You were like, do I just have to pee?
She was going.
Your little friend.
Fanny Flaws.
No, she was on, and I did. Wow. I was like, and I kept telling my friend, shout out Daniela, I kept telling her, I gotta go pee. I think I gotta go pee.
I'm so sorry. You were telling your friend I have to go pee?
Yeah.
You really have to pee.
And she also didn't understand. She was like, just go pee.
Yeah.
And I went
you were like, I went and it didn't help.
Anyway, that was my tangent. Small.
That's so funny. Thank you for sharing,
Thank
Claudia.
you for sharing that, Claudia. That's really so special. So yeah, we kissed, but
I thought it was magical.
I'm gonna be thinking about it probably for the rest of my life. But in like a Vietnam night terror sort of way. Where I'm gonna be awoken from a deep sleep. But it's not. I love women, and I think
wouldn't be the last.
I love women, and I think they're beautiful. So it's not about that. it's just I just cherish this friendship so much.
Oh, I cherish our friendship.
Claudia,
Did you just
I
kind
threw up
of
a little bit in my mouth.
thank you so much.
I do it all the time.
do you? Oh,
She's a handful. She's a real handful.
do you need some water?
No, she's fine.
I literally do it all the time.
You should get on like Prilosec.
Prilosec OTC.
Some of that shit for GERD.
My dad takes it all the time.
My dad too.
Shout out Jimmy.
Shout out Jason.
So I guess we should explain why we're dressed up in these get-ups. Today's episode, because it's Pride Month, we're doing a really gay topic. We're talking about the club kids.
Woo! Including RuPaul.
Roop.
The third Paul brother, Ruth
Bader Ginsburg?
Yes. She was...
Yes. Ruth Bader
Ginsburg. She was there. She said, I dissent.
And then she did a line. Well, there's a movie about her.
About Ruth?
About Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And
Like Ruth Ball?
And Felicity Jones plays her.
It's called On the Basis of Sex, and I have seen it.
And she does she tries to do like a Brooklyn accent, and it
does not work.
It's really bad.
It's like Robert Pattinson trying to do a French accent in The King. It goes terribly. But yeah, so that is what we are talking about today. Oh, who else is a club kid? Amanda LePore.
Y'all know her. First lady of Juicy Couture.
Michelle Visage.
Yeah, in case you ever wondered why she's on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Vivacious.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
James St. James. Richie Rich.
Waltpaper. And then...
Bjork hung out with the club kids.
She did, quite a bit.
Bjork, by the way, recently confirmed bisexual. She's in a relationship.
Another bisexual win.
She's another win for the bisexual people. There you go. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride to you all.
I had a bisexual man say that to me once, but just switch it around. He worked in finance. We had really mid-sex, and then afterward he said, I really like hanging out with you, but I would really only ever date women. Like, I would only ever be seen in public with with a woman.
Right. So it's like your internalized homophobia.
And then do you want to know how that night ended? He made me go through his Hinge likes with him. Mm-hmm. They were all women, yeah.
Devious.
And then I was like, I got in the cab to go home, and I was like, Jared, stand up. Stand up.
You need to.
And I've never made that mistake again. The mistake was not having sex with a bi man, because I have done that.
Oh.
It was having sex with a
homophobic
bi man. Correct.
Yeah, I'm like, real bis, I'm like, you gotta be willing to date either one of whatever you're into.
Right.
Whoever you're into.
But we're not.
Otherwise, I think you just like getting head.
Exactly.
That could be anybody.
But we're not gatekeepers, so.
I'm not the fucking gay cops.
If you wanna fucking be bisexual, be bisexual.
Whatever. It's got
if you
nothing to do with me.
Pansexual. Be pansexual. Wayne Brady, host of Let's Make a Deal, is pansexual.
Also performer on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes.
That's what I always
And also about to star New York City Center Encores. That's what it is. La Cage aux Folles with Billy Porter and Wayne Brady. Go see it.
Okay, gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Are we going to go see it?
Yeah, let's get tickets.
Okay, well, the last thing we saw together, 44, the Obama musical.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was a tough one.
But anyway, Abe, what are your annals for this week?
My annals? I feel like the Jeopardy music should play while I think of my annals, because I'm just like, what happened to me this week? Anything?
Did anything befall you?
Did anything befall me? You and I were together all weekend.
We were together all weekend. We went to Brooklyn Pride.
We went to Brooklyn Pride together.
We watched the Knicks win the NBA championship together.
Jared made a little baby gate cry.
I did make a baby gate cry.
Well, he didn't cry. He stormed away. He stormed out.
I was going to talk about this, but I was like, I don't know. Should I talk about this?
Jared said he just wanted attention.
I did. I kind of...
As a joke.
I called him out a little bit as a joke.
And
to be fair, we had established that kind of rapport.
Yeah, you were the only two gay guys there. So I was like...
And so I said to him at dinner, I was like, this one needs attention. And
because he kept talking about how he couldn't eat this many calories. He was at his calorie limit. Everyone else at the table was like...
Oh, my God. And so I finally said what everybody was thinking. I was like, this one needs attention. And people laughed.
And we moved on.
And then less than a minute later, he silently picked up all of his bags and walked out of the restaurant.
Storms away.
And then it took us like 15 minutes to even recognize. We were like,
we thought he was in the bathroom.
Did he leave?
And then he texted. So he was a cousin of a friend, and he texted a friend and said, she was like, did you leave? And he said, yes, fuck your friends. Immediately after, only Jared.
Only Jared. He's a fucking that was, yeah. I might have to bleep the word I don't know.
I don't think that's allowed on YouTube.
It's Pride Month. We
You're
should be able to say that.
You're right.
Yeah, no, he didn't care for me, but that's okay. I'm
no,
not everybody.
he didn't. Well,
I don't pertain to. I don't pretend to be everybody's cup of tea.
You're not.
You know, because I'm
you're really not.
Really not.
You're really not pleasant.
I know.
You're certainly an acquired taste.
Yeah, didn't we told your friend to
respond. I'm sorry you had a bad experience.
Everybody knows that Jared is a.
And he wanted to sign it, Jared. But she removed that.
XOXO Jared. But yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny.
So that was our little funny moment.
Yeah, we had a really great time being gay, being who we are for our pride,
and being
watching
diehard basketball fans as well.
Lifelong New York Knicks fans.
Lifelong New York Knicks fan right here.
Yeah.
She never stops talking about the Knicks. Can you give me one Knicks player?
Spider-Man.
Okay, try again.
Zoran Wamdani.
Sure, Claudia.
Jalen Brunson.
Because she desperate. Okay, yep. Okay, you got one.
He's like the
Is
star.
that your one? Do you know any others, Claudia?
KC? Is there one close to that?
There's Cat and there's OG.
I was gonna say
OG.
there's OG.
OG and an Obi.
Yes, that one. That one.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But I'm not even a Knicks fan.
I don't care about
I'm
basketball.
not a Knicks fan.
I like basketball.
I'm a Boston Celtics
but I like.
fan.
I,
As true listeners of
Yikes.
true listeners of this podcast will know that I'm a Boston Celtics
True
fan.
listeners of this podcast know that I like women's sports, aka real sports. One of my first times watching the MNBA. I had a really nice time.
The MNBA.
I had a really nice time watching the MNBA.
So my annal for this week, I was walking to the library this morning because I like to do work at the library sometimes. And this guy, I hear him coming up behind me and he's like shouting. And he's like, I don't want you to fucking call me and tell me that you're in fucking prison again. And you be like, oh, you're my baby's daddy and you got to get me out. I don't want to fucking hear about it. You can fucking rot in there. You can rot in there. And I was like, oh shit, he's having a heated phone conversation. He walks by me. He is not on the phone. He has no headphones in either.
Right.
This is an open air monologue that he is serving up to the people on the streets of Bushwick. And he had captured my attention. He was an excellent performer. He should consider a career on the stage.
You're like, he should do, he should go take a class with what's her nuts.
With Lee Strasberg?
Yes.
That's a man, but
What?
Lee Strasberg is a man.
Strasberg is a man.
Are you learning this for the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Lee, it can be a woman's name.
Yeah.
In this case, it is a man's name.
Right.
So,
right. Okay.
But
well,
if it makes you feel any better, he's been dead for a long time. So.
it does. You know what? That does make me feel better.
Did
Thank
you also just learn that he's deceased, or?
I assumed
Okay, cool.
he was dead
Cool.
because he was Marilyn Monroe's acting coach.
Yeah.
So that was a long fucking time ago.
That was a minute ago.
And so, I don't know when he died.
Neither do I. And frankly, I
don't care.
I don't want to sound callous, but I really don't care.
I don't care. Sorry.
Fuck. Okay.
So
we
Jared,
just.
should we get into our 5 Ws? I think we should just kind of tag team it.
I think we should just tag team this thing, Abe. Are you ready? We're gonna come
Yes.
at this episode together, y'all.
This is a true joint slay.
Yeah. So I'll kick it off. Who? The Club Kids of New York City, baby.
Bro, we just talked about that, guys. Were you paying attention?
They dominated the New York City club scene.
Mm-hmm.
They were party animals that turned the city's nightlife upside down. They included such figures as we've already covered, James St. James, Jenny Talia, great name, Richie Rich, Walt Cassidy, a.k.a. Waltpaper, Amanda LePore, RuPaul, Vivacious, Michelle Visage, and also the infamous party monster, Michael Alig.
Can I say one that you missed? My favorite drag queen of all time, Lady Bunny.
Lady Bunny?
Lady Bunny.
I love
Lady
Lady
Bunny.
Bunny.
Lady Bunny hung
Lady
with the
Bunny.
club kids.
Yeah.
And what were they up to? Wearing outlandish fashions.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the costumes today. Outrageous makeup. Hence the makeup today.
Mm-hmm.
Techno music. Histrionic personality disorder.
Many such cases.
Inner fabulousness. Bjork.
Bjork.
Videotapes. And enough drugs to kill a herd of capybaras. I swear to fucking God.
That is true. They
I
could have
swear to God.
Could have wiped them all out, baby.
Wipe them all off the face of the earth.
When we're going to start the common like starting point that almost all of the sources talked about was the death of Andy Warhol in February of 1987. So we're starting in February of 1987, and we will go all the way up to the murder of Angel Melendez in 1996.
We're starting with the death, and we're ending with the death. It's a little bookmark, not bookmark, bookend.
Bookends.
Okay, Simon and Garfunkel. Where? We're in Manhattan.
We are in Manhattan.
We're mostly in Greenwich Village, Chelsea, Soho, areas where if you're in New York City now are not where people like this are hanging out.
No.
They're really scary. I've started calling the East Village Little Utah because that's low-key what it feels like.
Yes, rich family.
Which I think we've talked about before. That's where we are. Briefly, we're on a beach in Staten Island, though. Whoa.
That will come back. We are on a Staten Island beach very briefly in this episode, and it's gross. But not because it's Staten Island. It's worse than that. And the why.
Shocking.
The why. The club kids were the last chapter of the golden age of New York City nightlife. They were a movement built on gender disruption, self-expression, and experimentation with fashion and appearance. And they mainstreamed what I call an aesthetic of the confected self, building their personas with the goal of capturing the public imagination while also serving as an outlet for their own personal expression. So there are many, many ironies in this story. The club kids were these misfits who reshaped the social hierarchy of the New York social scene while also ensuring that their own increasingly outrageous behavior would, lead to a crackdown on New York City nightlife. So they created this world that was like built for them and for weirdos and misfits like them, but then they also, through their actions, made sure that that world could never be created again in the same way.
Exactly. Going so far.
Right.
So far.
So far.
You'll see just how far things were taken, and kind of a few ruined it for everybody.
You will be thinking, certainly they couldn't take it any further. They do.
They will.
They will.
They do, and they will.
They do, and they will.
We have so much of like modern queer culture can be attributed, especially in like the drag scene, especially in more alternative queer scenes, can be attributed to the club kids, right? To their inspiration. So
and like
we got to talk about them. Not enough people know,
right? And like modern artists, and also like just the queer. I think queer culture writ large, like the ethos of queer culture, is about like radical self-expression,
freedom,
and freedom. And I think that a lot of that, I'm not putting that all at the feet of the club kids, but I do think that they were pretty instrumental in sort of mainstreaming that association between being like gender nonconforming or being queer and also being comfortably outrageous.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
We are going to answer a lot of questions that you might have. Here are the key questions we hope we will have answered by the end of this episode. Who were the club kids? How did they come to be? What was their aesthetic vision / view of the world? How did they capture the zeitgeist of 1990s New York? How did the public receive them? Where'd they hang out? How did the club kid era end? And what's their ultimate legacy?
Slay. I'm so excited to get into this one. So I think we should just start off with who they were and how they started.
Yeah.
Where do these people come from?
Kick us off, Abe.
So there are a lot of different takes about where they kind of started, how they started, what they stood for. Some of them, like Jenny Talia, are trust fund kids who come to the city and are kind of defying conformity. James St. James, also a trust fund kid, but others are weirdos from the Midwest who came to New York with a dream. There's a New York Times retrospective about them that calls them closeted teenagers, drag queens, performance artists, and trust fund brats.
Yeah.
So it's a big kind of mix of those. And I think also that is still reflective of queer culture today.
Absolutely.
In New York.
And we'll talk a lot about their like publicity because they did the talk show rounds a lot in the 90s.
Oh, Geraldo, Ricky Lake. What's her name?
Joan
Sally
Rivers. They did Donahue.
What is it? Sally Jesse Raphael?
Yeah. If you watch our View episode, we talk a lot about daytime talk shows in the 90s. But yeah. So
they were prime
for
a daytime talk show.
In one of their Donahue appearances, Jenny Talia who was 16 at the time, and she goes on and she has her face covered the whole time because her parents don't know that she's involved in the club kid scene. She lives in a Park Avenue apartment with her parents, and she sneaks out every night to go to the clubs. And she's 16. So, it's pretty amazing too.
Michael Musso, who was a
Mitchell Musso? Sorry.
Mitchell Musso.
Yes, Mitchell Musso.
Mitchell Musso, longtime columnist for The Village Voice and Out magazine, called the group a community of misfits. So they created this community for outcasts, for the displaced, for people who didn't feel like they belonged in any other part of modern art culture or in other parts of queer culture.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very sort of specific scene that filled a gap that was there. And Waltpaper is attributed to saying, we believed in ourselves despite not knowing where our paths would eventually lead us. There was a lot of ambition in these groups.
Ton of ambition
to be the greatest artist, to be the greatest drag queen.
Right.
Some of them have kind of achieved that.
Right. A lot of them,
if we're looking at
if you're looking at Rupert Paul,
the
third Paul brother, she's accomplished great things.
She is the most famous drag queen in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like Waltpaper, aka Walt Cassidy, and Richie Rich both became very successful fashion designers. Like,
absolutely.
So some of them did achieve their career goals through the notoriety they gained from being a club kid.
Yeah, through the connections that they made while they were part of that.
But others did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm getting ahead of myself. But
if we're getting into the timeline, like you mentioned earlier, we can roughly start with the death of Andy Warhol in 1987. This leaves the heart of New York City's nightlife with a big, giant void in it. Andy and his social groups had defined it for the past 2 decades, basically.
Right.
What was cool, what was not cool, what was avant-garde, what was worth it.
Where you should be hanging out.
Where you should be hanging out, and with whom. Exactly. So
Studio 54 in the 70s. Yeah.
So, but when Andy's gone, and by that time a lot of his peers were also gone.
Right.
What do? The club kids step up to fill that void. It's a moment where the direction of the club scene of New York nightlife, especially for them queers, is up for grabs.
Right.
Power vacuum, who's going to rush in to fill the void? It's like when there's a dead Roman emperor and there's no one to be named his heir.
Right.
All his friends are going to come out and try to get that spot.
You got to kiss that twink, you got to take over. Right.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, one of the things that I found in the sources about this moment that I thought was really interesting was that the clubs, when they knew it was going to be harder to get people in, saw these club kids, right? Saw these really outrageous fashions and like looks of these like almost this completely over the top individuals and said, we're going to create our own celebrities out of this flock of weirdos.
If we don't have conventional celebrities to draw you, if we can't get Liza Minnelli,
right,
then we're going to go ahead and get
Richie Rich.
Richie Rich or Waltpaper.
Right.
And this is how Michael Alig really gets his start.
Absolutely.
He was outrageous. Not
in a good
way.
No.
He was absolutely outrageous and captured a lot of people's attention and did have allegedly was charismatic and
I believe it,
drew people in, so they let him start hosting parties. And it kind of goes from there. Michael
Alig takes the phrase demon twink to a whole new level.
Literally
Michael
He's
Alig,
gross.
so he starts out working at Danceteria as a busboy in like 1985. Danceteria was a huge club, I think in the West 20s, like West 21st Street. It's where Madonna got her start when she first, started working the clubs in New York. She has a new song on Confessions 2 called Danceteria. And so Michael Alig, through these jobs and through his sort of irrepressible ambition, makes a lot of these different connections and starts climbing up this ladder.
Yeah.
And that's where he ends up forming this really, really important relationship with Peter Gatien, who is a club promoter and club owner.
Peter Gatien. Peter Gatien.
But just to give you a little bit more context about Michael Alig's personality, he's described in the documentary Party Monster having a perverted sex clown aesthetic.
That's why I dressed as a clown today.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Perverted sex clown. See, I'm just like I'm not.
He's and in the New York Times article from when he got out of jail, they were talking about he was a man child who wouldn't stop giggling and just like
he was fucking strange.
He was a strange
He was incredibly
character.
strange. He has all these friends. He's working at Danceteria. He meets Peter Gatien.
Mm-hmm.
He forms this kind of connection with him, and Peter Gatien sees what he has in front of him right here, which is a 100% entertainer.
A visionary.
A visionary entertainer. He's a piece of shit. And we'll get into that. Michael Alig, to be clear. I'm not even talking about Peter
Peter
Gatien.
Gatien's also
Gatien
a
piece of
nightmare.
shit, but we're mostly talking about Michael Alig.
Most of these people...
Pretty much everyone involved fucking sucks.
Yes.
Like on a personal level. But Peter Gatien owns one of the most important clubs for these club kids, and it's the Limelight.
Yes.
Which is also incredibly famous. Lots of celebrities.
It had many locations. One in London, one in LA, I think, one in New York. Yeah.
The one in New York is on 20th and 6th, or was on 20th and 6th, and it used to be a church, which I think
it is. The building is still there. Yeah.
gives it a certain je ne sais quoi.
Yes.
Which I love. I wish we still had something like that. And it's at the Limelight that Michael Alig gets increased creative control over programming and parties. They're letting him throw these parties and host them.
Right.
And from there, him and all of his friends, who are the people that we've mentioned, get their room to begin to play around with the party scene and really begin to define it.
Right.
He starts throwing a party on every Wednesday night, which is called Disco 2000, which had crazy animal costumes, characters, returning to each event. There were the same drag queens showing up.
Right.
The same entertainers. James St. James appeared as this character called the Drug Child.
He was in a playpen.
Yeah.
And he would be like, there was a sign, it said, "Do not feed the drug child."
Yeah, please do not feed the drug child.
And he'd be like,
This could happen
please,
to you."
please give me a bump. Please, I need a bump.
Which is so like,
I'm sorry, that would make, I would be cackling at that. I'm sorry.
I would be like, what the hell is
Like,
going
what the
on?
fuck is going on?
What is happening here? That will be the moment that I would turn to you in the club and grab your hand and be like, Jared, I'm scared.
Right, you'd be like, I think my brain is gonna sneeze.
I would
You'd
be-
say that again.
That's me when I'm in a club and the lights are too bright and I feel like I'm gonna have a seizure.
I always, whenever I hear these stories, I'm like, I would have loved this shit.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too. And
Like,
none of this shit happens anymore.
I-
Where is this shit happening?
They're
I think
like
this shit
the
is
the
happening.
closest. The
It's
closest
just
is like
basement.
no, the box maybe, but like that's just like a show where they like just do like sexual things.
Right, like, can you imagine
Yeah.
any of this shit happening in Manhattan today? No.
Not in Manhattan.
You have to go to the bowels of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
The bowels of Brooklyn, or
Queens.
like I'm telling you, like in the Midwest,
Yeah.
I'm-
Weirdly,
people-
yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
not weirdly.
like
real freaks.
the queer spaces and like not the coastal areas
Yeah.
are kind of like where it's at.
Right.
low-key.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Shout out Midwesterners. I've trashed you a lot on this show, but I
Shout
don't
out
know,
Midwesterners. I like you guys.
You're showing me up right now.
I
So.
like you guys. So yeah, the drug child is just one example of some of the kookiness that is going on at these events.
Kookiness is a good word. yeah.
Kookiness, truly. Also sex. There is always kind of like a sexual element, a flirty element. Claudia just put her leg up in the air.
'Cause
We
she-
said sex and she opened up her leg.
and we all know that she's dry as hell. So drier than the Sahara, drier than the Gobi Desert.
He's just mad.
Why? Say it. Say it.
He's just mad because when he farts, it's like one of them things that you use to get the fucking fire going. Like, because it's blown out.
Loose as a goose.
I will have you know that I have had several men complain to me that sex with me is uncomfortable because I'm so tight, actually. So I have the opposite problem and need to speak to the proctologist about it. Happy Pride, you fuckers.
I wish I never made that joke so I didn't have to hear about your tight butthole.
I'm telling you more about my butthole.
Disgusting.
The more you keep it up.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
keep talking.
Okay, so like we were talking about, oh my gosh, Jared, stop.
Sex.
You're derailing this whole thing.
Shut up.
It's not me, it's you. Sex. We just had sex.
Sex.
Whoa. So sex becomes an even bigger part of these shows. He has this thing called the hot body contest.
Yes.
Which
Yep.
is so
Where people are getting like full frontal naked on stage.
yeah, and then I guess everyone's just like
Money. Here
money,
you go.
money, money. And who's the hottest?
The other thing that I love about these parties is like there's just no laws.
No.
Like you can do anything.
No one gives a shit. Also, he's paying people to get naked.
Right.
To be
so,
clear.
Yeah.
These aren't volunteers. Well, I guess they are.
They are. They're just
but
random people who
they're
went to the club,
volunteers.
but they're paid. Yeah.
And you know what? I can see that happening now. That is something I'm like, that would happen if there were less rules, and there are rules because of what we're telling you about right now.
Right.
That's where a lot of these rules come from. You're like, why aren't people getting buck ass naked at the club anymore? First of all, at certain clubs,
they are. You got to know where to look.
You just got to know where to look.
The catacombs.
Oh.
You got to go down there.
Full on.
Anyway, sorry.
Full on boom boom time.
Full on boom boom.
Full on boom boom room.
In public.
Oh yeah. But these are, in the beginning, they're more kind of like creative shows or stunt type things.
Lots of stunts.
It feels more like publicity stunts, but as time goes on, all of these things get more and more extreme. Michael Alig continues to escalate things.
Right. And that is like a very recurrent theme in this story,
and
as you will see.
And just a little bit of information about Michael Alig and his background. Wait, where the fuck is he from?
He's from South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He was from Indiana. He was from South Bend, Indiana. He always had kind of like a closer relationship with his mom.
Yes, because
what I was able to gather,
his parents divorced when he was 4 years old, and his father abandoned the family.
Yeah, he never saw his dad again. I don't think.
So his mom is like, she's this German immigrant woman who, in the Party Monster documentary, has this gorgeous wash and set giant hair. And you can tell she is like as kooky as he is. Michael was sort of an outcast in school.
Yeah,
he was very
really into horror.
He was very into
horror,
like B movie,
gore,
like B horror movies.
Yeah, and she would talk about how she's like, I don't know how he likes this stuff. They're so bloody, so much blood and guts.
Right. Blood Feast was his favorite movie, and we will get back to Blood Feast shortly. Michael Alig, he was sort of an outcast because he was always very flamboyant. He was clearly homosexual.
He was clearly a little gay. You know when you look at a little kid and you're like, that's a gay kid. That's a little gay boy.
I reunited this summer with a cousin I haven't seen in a long time. Yeah. She's 10 years older than me, and she told me that when they would come and visit when I was like 7 or 8, she was like, I loved seeing you because I'd be like, that's a little gay kid. She's like, I'd be like, that boy is gay as hell.
Yeah, you'd be like, do you want to watch me dance?
Yeah, literally. I'd be like, I'm going to do my dance routine for you. Can I dance? Can I show you my dance?
Little gay kids are the best.
They are the best.
You like wanted to hang out with your friend's mom.
She's like, that kid's gay as hell. Yeah, me being like, Kathy, I'm kind of over your son. Can I just like sit on the porch with you and smoke Virginia Slims? Because you seem real cool.
Such a beautiful thing. So yeah, he's close with his mom. He really is into horror movies.
Right.
And was there some type of like enabling of odd behavior?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I think she
But
wanted
you can't
him.
tell her she really loved him.
Right, she did.
She really loved her son, and you can tell in the potty monster.
In the potty monster.
But that's me and Claudia.
But that's the main reason why he came to New York, is he was incredibly ambitious and like, but he didn't have the space obviously in South Bend, Indiana, to explore what interested him. But
yeah, exactly. So back to the story at hand.
Mm-hmm.
So he begins doing this thing. It was called outlaw parties or guerrilla parties, where they would go and have parties, illegal parties at surprise locations. So let's like somewhere like a McDonald's in Times Square, a subway station, places where usually parties aren't happening.
It's not necessarily destructive, but it is very...
It's disruptive.
It's hugely disruptive.
It's very disruptive. It's very attention grabbing. The parties would get broken up pretty quickly, and inevitably, like sometimes they would end in arrests. But they were almost always just let out because, you know, or given a ticket of some kind, public disturbance, whatever. Right. And they would end up creating a lot of hullabaloo for the club. Yeah. So they would, and we need to bring that back, by the way. Hullabaloo. What's all the hullabaloo?
What's all the ruckus?
What's all
the rumpus?
What's the rumpus? Well, they were creating the rumpus.
They were.
And they would create the rumpus out in public.
They were a rumpus factory.
And tell people, if you want more of this, you know, once it got broken up by the cops,
come to the club.
Come to the club.
Come to the Limelight. Come to the tunnel.
People who wouldn't have even thought of the tunnel or the club or the Limelight or Danceteria would end up going and being exposed to this. So it was a really successful like marketing method, which obviously Peter Gatien like loved because he's getting more bodies in his club.
Absolutely. And so before we get into like the aesthetic sort of angle of the Club Kids, I did want to talk briefly about like the structure of Alig as this sort of Mother Goose figure, because that's how he's described.
Like, how does he become the ringleader of the club kids?
I think because he's so outrageous, and because Peter Gatien especially has given him this creative control, it's very easy for him to position himself in that way, because he is controlling who's getting paid to work at these events. RuPaul tells a story about RuPaul fucking hated Michael Alig because he was...
Which is no surprise.
Right, because... Apparently, RuPaul worked an event that Michael Alig was running, and he refused to give her check until she kissed him on the mouth.
Ew.
And he also he would do shit like that while he had hepatitis.
Yeah, he would like go around like purposefully kissing people, or like I don't remember who it was exactly, but when I was watching the doc, this queen talked about how she like reached for a drink. He like she was like, "Can you give me some water?" And he did, and then everyone laughed, and once she took a drink, and like then she realized like she got hepped.
Right.
He was just constantly hepping people.
He would also pee on people.
Yeah,
in the club.
Disgusting. He would go above like I remember
on the VIP balcony.
Yeah, he would go above the balcony
down into the dance floor.
Into the dance floor or onto. I remember one TV. I remember like I was fucking there. He pissed off of the balcony onto a bartender.
Right.
And she was fucking pissed. Understandably so. And
everybody was just like, "Oh, that's Michael."
Yeah, that was kind of the attitude, was people would just let him get away with more and more because he helped to create this really chaotic environment where like it all sounds super fun on the surface, and we're all like, "Oh yeah, we would love this at clubs." But when this is the person who's at the center of it all and making a lot of the decisions about who's getting paid, who's not getting paid, who's invited, who's not invited, it turns very ugly very quickly.
Fast. And we're gonna get into that very soon. But by this point, I think it's pretty clear to say, like, by the early 1990s, the lunatics are kind of running the asylum in the New York City club scene.
Yeah.
Which is
head loony is Michael
Alig. And there are good parts to that, and there's bad parts to that. One of the good parts, I think, is that the club scene becomes more democratic. You know, the social hierarchy becomes less about your
celebrity focus,
celebrity or connection, and more about creative expression and individuality. Like that is what becomes the source of your cachet.
Yeah. Compared to what? Compared to the Warhol?
So the club kids were they were a culture that was more, I think, open to a broader mix of people.
Yes.
But so in that way, I think they were a nice reprieve from a decade of like really terrible suffering for a lot of queer people. And not to say that the AIDS crisis was not still continuing,
but it wasn't like people weren't dying right and left.
Well, you had AZT, and that sort of helped. And by 1996, you would get the first real antiretrovirals, like the antiretroviral cocktail that would make HIV a chronic condition and not a fatal condition.
And we also had a lot of celebrity advocacy at that point, like the philanthropic work of Liza Minnelli. She keeps coming up. I love her.
Right.
That could be foreshadowing. Liza Minnelli, Elizabeth Taylor, after we see the deaths of several of their celebrity friends, like Rock Hudson.
Fran Lebowitz saying that everybody who died from AIDS was a tastemaker, and the people who were left had no taste, and that's why culture sucks.
Which is a pretty interesting perspective. I don't know. I'm not saying I agree with it,
but no, it is an interesting perspective.
It isn't, and talking about this specific era too, of like this complete of the void that was left by all of these people that died, that were going out and were being a little bit more promiscuous, and who comes in right after
fills the void
exactly
after
them,
and Michael Alig hepping everybody,
which is that
fills honestly the void. That's why I feel even like the hep thing is even worse, because I'm like, this is right during / on the tail of the worst of the AIDS crisis.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that bitch.
And it's very much still going on. This is like 1992, 1993.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
AIDS, still a thing, guys.
Very much still a thing.
Still a thing.
This conversation about changing aesthetics and sort of the development of the nightlife scene.
Yeah,
as
who's
we move
rushing
out
into the void?
You know, as we move out of the worst of the AIDS crisis into the 90s. How are the club kids reflecting the change, and who is filling the void? So I really liked how Michael Musso described the club kid aesthetic. He described it as a blending of, quote, Japanese anime, fractured fairy tale Mother Goose chic gone amok, apocalyptic chic, and a heavy influence of British outrageous performance art in the person of Lee Bowery. Lee Bowery, amazing performance artist of this era. You should look
so I hope that paints a really clear picture for you guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, there will be lots of photos with this video. If you're watching, you'll see the photos. If you're listening, sorry about it. You should go watch it.
You should go watch it on
see the
YouTube
pictures.
also, or just turn it on Spotify.
Yeah, not while you're.
Do it while you're driving. I want you watching us while you're driving.
No.
So it's an aesthetic that mocked and embraced consumer culture all at once. It's another one of those ironies of the club kid culture. It's like they were rejecting the mainstream, but they were also desperately pining to to get mainstream celebrity and fame and recognition.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a common theme for a lot of marginalized groups.
Yeah.
The aesthetic, when it started out, it was more of like a kiddie sort of thing, like rag dolls and clowns,
clown makeup, like this, but better.
Right, like we're bratty, we're naughty.
Yeah.
We're gonna do drugs off the bar, but we're also gonna.
But I'm wearing bloomers.
But I'm wearing bloomers and a baby bonnet.
Exactly. Goo goo gaga.
I'm the drug child. Goo goo gaga.
I'm the drug child. Cuckoo cuckoo.
And the other really important element of the visual aesthetic of the club kids was this DIY aspect. Like, you were really expected to concoct a look that was throwaway. Like, it was made from whatever materials were immediately available to you.
And you would only wear it this one night.
Right. Like, you really wouldn't reuse a look. Like, most of what you were wearing would get thrown away. I will say there is one look that Waltpaper did that I'm absolutely obsessed with, which is such a perfect encapsulation of the mix of this like kiddie and DIY thing.
We're thinking about DUIs right now, guys. Do not watch us and drive.
Don't watch a drive.
Do not do drugs and drive.
But he was wearing
take prep and then drive.
Waltpaper was wearing this like kitty tutu looking thing, but the tutu was made out of like window screens.
Oh, so nice.
And the straps of the skirt were made from like chains. And so he had
cool.
It's a really
someone went to Home Depot.
Cool look. And he was just like, I just picked up this stuff that was on the sidewalk and just made this.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was
know
part of the look.
Queens on Drag Race now know your history. That's all I'm gonna say.
Exactly. And know how to sew.
And when they were on, how they described the look and the aesthetic themselves, when they were on Donahue, they described this. They said, club kids can be anything they want to be. And then they also said, I think it was James St. James that said this, there really needs to be something, or maybe it was Waltpaper, I don't remember. There really needs to be something inside you. Otherwise, the look doesn't work.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it wasn't just about looking the part. There was this inner spark, creativity, charisma, whatever you want to call it, that completed it.
Right.
Because, and we'll get into this when we start talking about Angel Melendez, they were very, especially Michael Alig and James St. James, were very anti-poser.
You couldn't be a clout chaser.
You couldn't be a poser.
The word, poser would have been
whatever
the word
that meant to them. And of course, they were the ones who were defining it.
Right.
What a poser was, who was actually being authentic and who wasn't. And I think that is kind of the paradox, is like, they at kind of at the same time were very open-minded, but also kind of narrow in what they thought was like serving, what they thought was cool, which is again still something we see in the queer community.
Exactly. Like this policing.
Yeah, like you have to be unique, just like everybody else.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
Unique.
Oh wait,
that's what you are.
Remember our tongue twister, our vocal warm up we were gonna show everybody?
The unique New York Knicks. The unique New York Knicks.
Wait, we made it even harder.
The unique New York Knicks win in 6. The
unique New York Knicks win in 6. The unique New York Knicks win in 6. Try it out, guys. It's actually kind of hard. Claudia said she won't even try.
Her English is not that good, so that makes sense.
Oh, brother.
So yeah, anyway, Abe, why don't you tell us about how the club kids captured the zeitgeist?
I love that word. I would love to talk about how they captured the zeitgeist. So they embraced techno music and house music, which also goes with like the 1990s.
Black people too created techno and house.
Absolutely.
Speak it.
Absolutely. Who were
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia. Who
Our
were
woke queen.
No, absolutely no, Claudia. Thank you, genuinely.
Intersectionality,
because that's also where we see like the rise of disco. Also comes from Black communities, and so they're heavily involved in this scene.
Right.
But we also see the rise of like the rave in the 1990s, kind of around the same time. So rave culture is also informing this. Black culture is in part informing this, especially black ballroom culture. And then of course drugs, not just recreational drugs, but the antiretrovirals that were revolutionizing HIV/AIDS care, as we talked about before. The first SSRIs are hitting the market.
Yep.
So good for shout out.
Everybody is on Zoloft.
Exactly. Americans are taking drugs more regularly just to live their daily lives.
Right.
Which I think in some ways kind of makes then a recreational drug a little less like it's a little bit closer of a step.
Right, because you're using what annoying people on TikTok would call a chemical buffer.
Yeah.
In order to live your life. Stop relying on chemical buffers.
That's me bumping you on your head.
You need to self-optimize.
Self-optimize. I'm like, you would benefit from some pharmacology because you are ill.
Why don't you self-optimize by killing yourself? Nope, can't say that. I will be cutting that.
No, we can't.
Self-optimize by killing yourself.
So we have prescription drugs that are rising, in some ways very good. The antiretrovirals, the SSRIs, but we also have like more access to cocaine than before.
Right.
Coming out of the 1980s, the 70s and 80s was coke time. We have fucking Quaaludes.
Well, that's over. Quaaludes is ending.
Quaaludes are gone.
Quaaludes is ending by
R.I.P.
this point.
Quaaludes.
But synthetic drugs like ketamine
drugs
plays
are.
a big role in this story.
We also see the clash of commercialism described as part of the club kid aesthetic, which shows up in their hangouts as well. For example, in 1993, Peter Gatien opens Club USA, which is also
fucking place ever.
Which is also just a crazy name though. But the interior played on the explosion of American commercialism present in Times Square, which was nearby and very recently cleaned up. There's logos, there's advertising, there's branding everywhere. It's giving Pride Party sponsored by Absolute. And JP Morgan Chase.
And there was this one thing at Club USA that I do want to talk about, which was the curly slide. Like the curly Q slide that is like they would have at McDonald's Play Place. It connected right from the VIP lounge upstairs directly down to the dance floor. So you could do it, like you could get in the slide and you would just pop out onto the dance floor.
That's crazy though, because I'm like, imagine people definitely tried to crawl up the slide and then got their shit rocked.
It'd be like, I want to go see Tupac. He's up there.
Tupac's up there, guys. All this to say, all the club kids are very much ahead of their time, but very 90s in their postmodernist like deconstruction of gender, sex, fashion, and expression. They're questioning the social structure through their existence. I feel very like the club kids are very interesting in their ways that they play with gender and expression and sex, and how in some of the ways they're extremely like, you can be absolutely whatever you want to be.
But then there are also rules.
There are rules to how you can express.
Well, yeah, because
there's no rules, but there are rules. And if you don't know the rules, then you shouldn't even be here.
I don't want to dwell too long on this because this could be like an hours long conversation, but I am like, how do you build a social movement or moment or like an aesthetic moment by being like, be yourself. There are no rules.
Yeah.
Be whatever you want to be. It's like, well, okay, well then the moment collapses because there's no limitations to what your expression can be. And therefore, because you're not excluding anything, you're not including anything to define the aesthetic.
So really when they're like, be who you are, be anyone you want to be, it's really be who you are and who you want to be if it fits in this specific scene that we're cultivating. But then I feel like one of those people that's like so much for
the
tolerant left when they're like, we don't like Nazis.
Right.
So
because it's the same paradox.
It's the same paradox, but of an incredibly different application.
Yeah.
But their underground existence is what made them the most intriguing. This is brought to the surface because the underground attracts the elite, who then bring it into the mainstream, because when the elite engages something, it naturally the public attention follows. Right. So Club USA, like we said, Tupac is there. While Tupac can be very cool, he also was very, very famous and very well known in the mainstream. And so, yeah, it's you're bringing people in, but you're also keeping certain people out.
And the club kids liked that also.
They wanted the public exposure and the documentation of their outrageousness. And they really wanted it to be part of who they were. They wanted everyone to know how extreme they were, how cuckoo bananas they really could be. So Waltpaper said that they laid the seeds for self-branding, but also for reality television, which makes a lot. I think that's which is maybe in some ways foreshadowing.
Really interesting. Yeah, I could have written when in undergrad. I could have written an excellent media studies paper about how they.
Then why didn't you?
Because no one believed in me.
Oh no!
No one believed in me.
Oh no!
Because I was just a gay kid from Massachusetts.
Not a lot of those.
From the Brewster Project.
No one understood me.
A little girl.
Once upon a time, there was a little black girl in the Brewster Projects in Detroit, Michigan.
And then Trixie Mattel comes out.
Trixie and Katya stacked on top of each other in a trench coat.
Katya, get well.
Katya, get well.
Katya, get well, girl. We love you.
The club kids also reflect this era of supermodels, of heroin chic. Put a pin in that one specifically. Heroin chic, their culture is increasingly fascinated with celebrity, and they begin to fancy themselves more and more celebrity the more known they are in the club scene, and then it goes kind of not mainstream, but more public. More public, less underground. Their confidence, their extravagance, the glamour, it becomes the Band-Aid, the balm, the salve on top of the big gaping wound that has been left in the queer community by the HIV and AIDS crisis.
So I think all of that discussion of the club kids' fascination with celebrity is a good pivot into how the public received them. Because, I don't think they were ever really as mainstream as they thought that they were.
No, they really...
Because they did kind of live in a bubble, in a New York City bubble. So they were like, we're famous. And I was like...
Meanwhile, people in wherever the fuck... pretty much everywhere outside of New York were like,
people in Westchester were like, who are these people?
Who the hell?
But
people in Brooklyn were like, what?
They regularly appeared on talk shows.
Geraldo,
Joan
fucking
Rivers,
Geraldo,
Donahue, all the circuit. Some of those big ones. Donahue described them as hedonists on their in their appearance, which is not entirely wrong.
I was gonna say he's kind of right. Not to give it to Phil Donahue, but
so once they started going on these talk shows, they did garner some attention, and I'm sure they did attract a lot of people who wanted to come to New York to live out this lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their underground status, like you were saying, it did make them really intriguing. It made them alluring to people who are on the outside.
Because who doesn't want to be a part of something? If you're looking for acceptance, you're looking for community, and here's this really mysterious, almost otherworldly type of culture that is happening right there in front of you.
Right. But I think the flip side to that allure is that it did make people hostile, right? Because there is always a fear and apprehension around people that are different or nonconformists or but also I think there was an element even apart from people who were just freaked out by them, there was an element of people I think who were pissed off by them because suddenly a bunch of outcasts and ne'er-do-wells,
gender bending gays
they're the ones who are going to decide what's cool and what's in and what makes you socially relevant, which I think it pissed a lot of people off. But I think for most people, because I honestly believe that this is the case for most people. I think most people need to be pushed into hating queer people through religion or through culture at large. Most people, I think, were just sort of...
They just didn't give a shit.
Benignly confused or loosely fascinated by what was going on.
Yeah.
So Joan Rivers has this really... I fucking love Joan. But she has this moment where they do a Club Kid fashion show on the Joan Rivers show. And she asks... She goes, so which one are men and which are women? She's just she's just kind of she's amused, but she's just kind of... But I think a lot of the critics, especially from inside or adjacent to the queer community, a lot of the critics of the Club Kids saw them as vapid, people who were too obsessed with image and celebrity, who wanted to be famous for being famous. Yeah. There were criticisms of the movement.
Some of them valid.
Some of them valid, but
genuinely.
And most of the valid ones, I think, center on the escalation and the growing extremity within the Club Kid moment. Yeah, the scene is escalating. Hard drug use is becoming much more rampant in the clubs. To
the point where it's all literally dawn to dawn. I was going to say dawn to dusk, but it's more dawn to dawn.
They're high the whole time.
Constant 24/7 drug use.
And in most of these clubs,
not good.
the drug use is like open. Like
Yeah, it's on the bar.
They're blowing rails on the bar.
It's
like
it's inescapable.
Right,
so
yeah.
if you're a person trying to get into the scene, then it seems almost like
the price of admission.
The price of admission is that you have to participate in this.
In the drug culture, yeah.
In this heavy drug use.
So, one of the major victims, I'm using that victim word loosely.
Can we talk about their use of heroin?
Oh, yeah.
They started doing heroin.
They graduate from ketamine to heroin, and one of their big motivators for starting using heroin and intravenous drugs is the shock value of shooting up.
Which is like, not that there's a good reason to do heroin. You should not do heroin.
But I think that people like Michael Alig especially, I think, got a little like, little rush.
Yeah,
out of being
they want the attention. They want to
being like, I'm a junkie.
Yeah,
like,
where it's like something that legitimately is horrible and debilitates people.
Right. So
it's so doing that for the edge factor is so. Michael Alig 100% today would have been an edgelord. Absolutely would have been tweeting slurs out the wazoo. Would have been like Azealia Banks times fucking 1,000.
So by the mid 90s, most of the major club kids are all drug addicts. Michael Alig is regularly using, and this laundry list of drugs, I was like,
Let's get into it.
Daily, he's using heroin, ketamine, cocaine, rohypnol, crack, meth. And these addictions are making him reliant on a number of suppliers. One of them is a man named Robert Riggs, who goes by Freeze, who is a sometime roommate of Michael Alig's. And another is a busboy / drug dealer who works at the Limelight, and his name is Angel Melendez.
So yeah. Angel was known for wearing these, and Angel also appeared on shows like Geraldo.
Yep.
And was known for wearing these big wings. Angel wings.
Right.
Sometimes they were white, sometimes they were red. He had them in different colors.
His real name was Andre, by the way.
Yes. So. But everybody called him Angel. Angel was from New York City and still had family in the area. In particular, Angel had a brother.
Yes. Well, he was born in Colombia. He was an immigrant from Colombia also.
Yeah.
But he was living in New York City.
His family came to New York City.
Yes.
So while he's from Colombia, his family came to New York City. So his brother is in the city. His brother's in the area.
That's an important thing to note.
It is important because he saw his brother regularly.
He did.
Was he still had a relationship with his brother. Some people in the scene don't have relationships with their family, whether it's because of homophobia or any other reasons. But he still did have a relationship with his brother.
Right.
His brother loved him.
That is an important thing to take particular note of, because
the
ball starts to roll toward catastrophe in September of 1995. In September of 1995, federal authorities raid the Limelight.
And what do they find, Jared?
They find a lot of drugs.
A fuck ton of drugs.
A ton of drugs.
They
find so many drugs.
And we're not talking weed.
We're not talking about weed. We are talking about heroin, cocaine. We're talking about
all
the heavy drugs. And so this ends open drug use at the Limelight, and Peter Gatien begins to crack down on the people who are in his employ who he knows are dealing drugs.
Which is also because, he doesn't want to get shut down.
Right.
It's a miracle that this didn't shut the Limelight down.
Exactly. So
really, it's probably just because of Peter Gatien's power and money.
Right. And so Peter Gatien fires a ton of people who work at the Limelight, who he knows are drug dealers. One of them is Angel Melendez. After this, Angel is in pretty dire straits. And what he ends up doing is he goes to live with Michael Alig. So when a drug dealer begins living with an active drug addict, it's not a recipe for success.
It's not. Angel was also the type of drug dealer who, if you owed him money, he was going to get that money.
He wanted to,
he was going to come and he was going to come and be like, where's my money?
And so what happens is Michael, very predictably, because he doesn't really have any sort of sense or care for consequences or what he does to other people, starts to use up Angel's supply while Angel is living with him.
And that's not something you want to do.
Right. And so this conflict between them comes to a head on St. Patrick's Day, 1996. Angel confronts Michael about the money that he owes him from the drugs that he has been using from Angel's supply.
That he's been stealing.
From Angel. And this confrontation turns violent. And Angel begins to get the better of Michael. Michael is like pinned on the floor. Angel is like kicking the shit out of him.
And he's going and he yells out, help me. Also worth considering, Michael is high this time.
He is high.
So are two other people who are in the apartment.
Yes.
Besides Angel. Freeze is there.
I
The
think
other
it's-
drug dealer. There's another guy named Daniel
Oh,
who's there.
okay.
Who is Daniel? What is Daniel doing there? Kind of unclear. But
unclear.
there was a fourth person in the apartment.
was a
Daniel was with Freeze.
Okay.
So Freeze, Robert Riggs. He was there. Angel, Michael, Mystery Daniel.
Mystery Daniel.
Mystery Dan.
And so Michael screams out help, right?
Yeah.
And Freeze rushes into the room and
With a hammer.
sees Angel attacking Michael and beats Angel over the head with the hammer. There are 3 blows before Angel collapses onto the floor.
Yes.
Once that happens, Michael
Well, Angel is important to know. Angel is not dead. He is alive.
Still alive. He's breathing, but he's unconscious.
He definitely needs
medical attention.
He's been hit in the head with a hammer.
He's suffered a traumatic brain
Twice.
injury.
Yeah.
And so Michael does, what does Michael Alig do? He begins to smother Angel until Angel is actually dead. And then after Angel dies, he pours Drano down his throat and duct tapes his mouth closed.
And Freeze, according to his own account, is like, what are you doing? He wasn't, because he wasn't dead. He was like, okay, like shit, like we had this incident. What are we going to do?
Fuck, we got to call the cops.
They're thinking Freeze is thinking.
But before,
again, to his own account, Freeze is thinking we got to, get some help. And then Michael
finishes the job.
Just decides that Angel just needs to die.
And so Michael Alig kills him. And then this is like one of the most upsetting parts of this whole thing. They don't even dispose of the body right away.
No, they put it
the
in
body in the bathtub on ice for a week.
It starts stinking.
Uh-huh.
Obviously.
So
also just horribly undignified.
Right.
Like just for poor Angel.
So then after
flawed person,
but no one deserves to die like that.
No, this is terrible. I'm not going to share the dismemberment details because you understand. But Freeze is basically like, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Michael Alig has to do it. And Michael Alig says that he will do it if he gets him enough heroin that he like won't even be present mentally. Mm-hmm. So Freeze goes out and he goes to like a department store and he buys a set of knives. And then he gets a bunch of heroin and he brings it back. And Michael gets insanely high on heroin and dismembers Angel's body in the apartment.
And so
his body, which is actively decomposing.
So what they do is they put some of the larger body parts in a big box. Then they take a cab.
They take a taxi.
They take a taxi cab to the Hudson, like to the waterfront.
Yeah. And the taxi driver, they ask if he can help them with the box, and he's like, give me $20. So they give him $20. He doesn't ask any questions. And he helps them and they helps them dump the body. But they did not weigh the box down.
So a cardboard box washes up on the on shore on the beach in Staten Island. And
Terrifying.
They find a human torso inside of it.
They essentially classify this Angel's body as a John Doe and wait to see, what happens. They admittedly, the police, and this is the case in most.
They were really dragging their feet on this case.
Wait, the cops didn't do a good job investigating a murder? What? That happens all the time. If you engage with any true crime content, you will know that like 99.9% of the time, a lot of things can be avoided because of if the police did a better investigative job.
Right.
But the police don't really clock anything until Angel's brother realizes Angel is missing. So Angel's brother, Johnny, realizes pretty quickly that Angel's missing. He can't get in contact with him. He doesn't know where he is. He actually goes and asks Michael Alig if he knows where his brother is. And he said that Michael Alig couldn't even look him in the eye and said he had no idea where Angel was. Meanwhile, Angel is in the bathtub in the apartment.
Right.
So his brother reports him missing. Anyways, they end up somehow, I don't know exactly how he was identified, but they put the pieces together and they realize that this body is Angel Melendez.
Right.
This whole time that Angel is missing,
this is over the course of several months.
Michael is descending further and further into drug use, even like further than he already had. And he is basically telling people, he is literally telling people that he killed Angel.
In a recorded interview that's in that Party Monster documentary.
Yeah, he's like, I killed him.
He goes, I killed Angel.
And then he goes, and then he's like, I shouldn't say that's going to get me in trouble. But he was like, there are reports of like, he told James St. James that he killed Angel. He's like, have you noticed anyone missing recently? Anyone you haven't seen in a while? And he kind of plays this like guessing game with people to reveal. And then it just becomes an open secret in the club scene in those months leading up to Michael's arrest. And was that Michael was going around telling everybody and their mother that he killed Angel. And no one has seen Angel in months, but a lot of people also didn't really like Angel. And so...
And they also thought that Michael was just saying it for attention. Maybe.
Yeah, because it's like exactly the kind of thing he would do. As time goes on and Angel is still not seen, people begin to take it a little more seriously. Right. And they're like, did he actually kill Angel?
And funny story, he did actually kill him.
Wow, that's hilarious. So yeah, he's going around, he's telling people like, I killed Angel. He wore clothing that belonged to Angel, specifically a pair of shoes that were very recognizable as being Angel shoes. And eventually the story is broken in the Village Voice. This is before the police even start investigating Michael Alig. By the time they put the pieces together that this is Angel, Michael's already been talking about that he killed Angel for months. And the Village Voice has already ran this whole story.
And he's already he's left New York several times only to return because of boredom, because of a need for attention.
Yeah.
So he keeps like leaving New York City, going to see his mom, going to Chicago, going to Denver. And then he always ends up back in New York City.
Yeah. So him and
bizarre.
Freeze end up getting questioned by the police following the release of this Village Voice story.
Right.
And pretty soon after, they're arrested.
Early 97, I think February of 1997.
Yeah.
They both get arrested.
He was still in the scene?
Yes.
Yes.
He's still doing parties. He's still in the clubs. He's still doing drugs.
But when you say that he was leaving New York,
like he was leaving for extended periods, like
he would leave for
at a time.
weeks, months, and essentially he would be like, I'm getting out of the city, and then he would like come back.
And then he would come
inevitably back, like no one believed him. He would come back.
Yeah.
So him and Freeze are essentially out there for a year. Almost a year.
For the better part of a year.
Of a year before they're finally both arrested, and Freeze confesses everything.
Yeah.
Freeze is like, he's racked. Freeze has been racked by guilt. He just puts it all out there for the police. He knows they've been caught. And I think Michael kind of tries to deny it for a little bit, but eventually confesses.
Both of them plead guilty though.
Yeah, they both plead guilty. They both make written confessions, confessing to the murder. Or actually maybe it was the manslaughter of Angel Melendez.
They get charged. They're convicted with of manslaughter.
Yes.
I don't
Which
really know.
Which is probably why they pleaded guilty to get some kind of deal.
Yeah, they probably took a plea deal. So yeah, I mean, and Michael ends up getting 17 years in prison. He served 17 years in prison. And Freeze serves less time in prison, actually.
Yes, he does.
He serves like 13 years.
I think because he wasn't the one who actually killed Angel.
And he was also released on good behavior after serving
versus Michael was not good behavior. Michael was actually in solitary for sometimes
for like 4 years
at a time
because of drug use, heroin use in prison. So I think after the whole Michael Alig murder case, it's pretty fair to say that the club kids, the vibes are never quite the same.
The vibe was soured. The vibe was soured.
Safe to say. He terrorized the vibe.
He terrorized the vibe. And he goes to jail. Freeze goes to jail.
Right.
And things kind of begin to fall apart. The rules also change because the murder has really shocked the scene.
And also at the same time, you have to remember that in 1993, New York City gets a new mayor, a Republican, Rudolph Giuliani.
Maybe
Rudy
you've
Giuliani.
heard of him.
He starts, during his 8 years in the mayoralty, he pursues an aggressive quality of life campaign. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
It centers on this whole broken windows theory of crime, which is like if you aesthetically improve the appearance of a neighborhood, then crime will go down. And people will. So if you have zero tolerance for, graffiti or public disorder, and you arrest people and put them in jail for seemingly petty crimes, you will improve the quality of life in a neighborhood because you've essentially turned it into a police state.
Yeah, that's when he like cleans up Times Square. Gone are the porno shops, peep shows, and strip clubs and brothels of yore.
Right.
And in is M&M World and Sbarro.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And he also makes it more difficult for clubs to, like the Limelight, like the Tunnel, to operate.
This also comes around the same time as the crime bill, the federal crime bill.
Yeah, in 94.
And so there's a crackdown.
So that's in the air
after the 80s.
In the 90s.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe.
So yeah, I mean, Peter Gatien ends up. He has protracted legal battles. He loses most of his clubs, or they close down.
Yeah.
He ends up getting deported to Canada for tax evasion in 2003.
So funny.
And so, yeah, I mean, this is a moment where, and I thought Waltpaper put it really, really well in his interview with Interview Magazine when he said, Club USA was the crescendo, and it also marks the end of this Club Kid moment.
Yeah.
It had reached full blossom, and in many ways we had done everything we could do. We worked every look, we tried every drug. And so it's like, yeah, I feel like at the end of the story, as you reach the year 2000 and the end of the 90s, this chapter of New York City history and queer history and in the history of New York City nightlife is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And
the
a pretty
nail in the coffin truly is
it's a
the
pretty
murder of Angel Melendez.
tragic and ignominious end for an otherwise, I think, really important cultural moment.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer. But there's a long tail.
I guess you could say it is kind of a bummer.
There's a long tail and a lasting legacy to the Club Kid moment.
Oh my God, like queer culture is so informed by this era.
Absolutely.
Like in
modern drag culture is informed doubly by ballroom and by the club kids.
Right.
And the club kids were also informed by these
ballroom.
organic ballroom scenes.
Right.
That were coming up in Black and brown communities in New York City.
Because I think if that whole thing that I talked about earlier, the aesthetic of the confected self, like that is so evident in ballroom culture.
Without the club kids, there would be no RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right.
Dare I say.
There would be no RuPaul.
There would be no
without
Rup.
these clubs and these environments, right?
No Rup.
Because Rup in 1987 was like a go-go dancer. Like,
yeah. So they have this long-lasting cultural impact on fashion, nightlife, queer culture for some of the reasons we've talked about. Some of the people who came out of the scene and are inspired by the scene are Amanda LePore, RuPaul, we're going to keep bringing up Mama Ru, Jean-Paul Gaultier, and of course, later on, Lady Gaga, who has specifically like cited the club kids as being part of her inspiration.
Right.
I think that shows a lot. Their constructed nightlife personas anticipated the online personas of modern influencers, creating this brand for yourself before they would call it a personal brand.
Because the idea of self-branding is really just beginning to take shape at this point, right?
Yeah.
Because all of these are characters. Like it's not that different from an online persona, because the person you inhabit online is kind of a characterized version of yourself, right?
Like it's the performance of some sort of authenticity while at the same time heavily curated. They, as we said earlier, they laid the seeds for self-branding, but also reality TV, as Waltpaper said. A great resource that we used for this was the 5 9th Avenue Project, which is a YouTube channel that preserves all of Nelson Sullivan's videotapes from this era. And he has a tendency to turn the camera around and provide commentary, anticipating the front-facing cameras and vlogging era that we would enter.
Yeah.
So he's filming what's happening around him, then turning it around and saying something about it.
Right.
Similar to what we would end up doing now.
And some of the videos that Nelson Sullivan took in this era are so interesting, because he was clearly friends with RuPaul, and he was also involved in the Club Kids, space. And so, like, I don't know, it's an era of New York City that is captured on this incredibly personal level, like really like POV first person perspective.
Like someone who's in there.
And it's super cool to experience.
Yeah.
So
we'll link it below as one of our sources. Definitely check it out. Contemporary Queer Cultures Association, with vibrant, outrageous, all-out self-expression, from costumes to your sex life to your art and your writing
to makeup and drug use.
Everything is sort of rooted in this club kid culture. I don't want to make it sound like they came out of nowhere and just were like doing that thing that no one else had ever done before. Like it was a culmination of decades of queer expression.
Right.
Balls going back to, drag balls go back to the 1890s.
Right.
In New York City. So this is something that really has been around for a long time, and it was sort of the fever pitch culmination of everything.
Yeah, and I think the club kids are also really important because they demonstrate that idea that like creativity can trump cachet or connection.
Rather than social status, rather than just piles of money.
Right.
Of course, social status and piles of money help, but they
do.
you know, especially towards the later part of the club kid era. But certainly, if you didn't have the creativity, if you couldn't serve, there would.
Honey, if you couldn't serve.
If you didn't have the charisma, uniqueness,
nerve,
and talent,
you were not going to make it.
And that's how we tie it all together.
Exactly. This is probably one of the topics that we have the most documentation for.
Totally.
So many
Except
sources.
for maybe The View.
Except for maybe The View, which we have many episodes for.
More documentation than we need.
More documentation than necessary. But this also gives, it determines the cultural relevance by your creativity, by your ingenuity. And it's a promise that a lot of people, particularly people who are queer or otherwise disenfranchised, are attracted to.
Right.
It creates a social hierarchy that suddenly they find they can be in, they could be part of, and not at the very bottom.
I can make it somewhere. I can build something for myself. I can ascend to the top of this ladder.
Exactly.
If this other one is closed off to me.
Different American dream.
It is.
Yes. So true.
It's a queer American
so
dream.
True. And their legacy still remains divided between their artistic innovation and the creative side of this, and then the more cautionary tale that was created by Michael Alig.
Yeah.
Whose notoriety in the murder of Angel Melendez came to overshadow a lot of the movement. But we wanted to celebrate some of the things that were also happening in this scene.
Right.
That we do have to thank a lot of queer culture for.
Because there's so many creatives and visionaries that were involved in this scene.
Absolutely.
Who did
not murder anybody.
They did not murder anybody.
While they could have made other questionable choices, and don't we all, they didn't murder someone.
And chop up his body and put it in a box that washed up on Staten Island.
Which is fucked up. So speaking
no one deserves to wash up on Staten Island.
Oh my God, no. But speaking of Michael Alig, so after he went to prison, he actually was released.
In 2014.
Yeah, 2014. And he reunites with James St. James, and they kind of key a little bit, but he's, James St. James is like teaching him about like the modern world, but also he's a little bit of a spectacle. He's a little bit of like a joke. And they try to make like a reality show. It doesn't really work.
There's a follow-up documentary called Glory Days,
which doesn't really make Michael look very good at all, because he's making a lot of like kind of jokes. There's the one scene I remember in particular with him and James St. James, and they're like on the water looking out, and one of them makes a joke of like, oh, it'd be great to like put like you could dump a body here, and then they're like, hey Angel, like,
yeah, they make light of
and they're like, oh well, it's like how we cope, and like I understand humor as a coping mechanism, definitely, but it doesn't really show a lot of remorse, especially when you say something like that on
especially
camera.
When you're the murderer
and when you murdered somebody. You literally murdered someone and you just got out. And in 2020, he passed away of an overdose.
Christmas Eve 2020. He died in his Washington Heights home from a drug overdose. So
very
Michael Alig no longer with us.
And for a
very terrible person.
Yeah, real piece of shit, to be honest. And people definitely remember that. Remember his crime more than anything else he did. Oh no.
Camera died again, just like a few weeks ago when we were doing this. So, you know what? Shit happens, fuckers.
Exactly.
And if you have an issue with that, you can take it up with my fist.
That's very threatening, Jared.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, enjoy these images of horses.
Here are some horses galloping. Do you see that horse?
Horses galloping. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. We will be back.
Isn't this horse so beautiful? Abe, look at him.
So stunning.
I'll be riding wildfire. That's a song about a horse.
Oh, wow.
You know who I blame for this?
Who?
Claudia.
I don't.
She's pretty,
I don't.
though.
I blame you.
She's so pretty.
She is stunning.
Not that you guys will ever know, because you'll never see her face.
For our eyes only. Anyways, if you like this, go ahead and give us a follow on our different social media accounts. We post things.
We do post things. We post memes. We post videos.
We
post
sure
all
do.
This stuff. Yeah, we love you guys so much, and we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Thank you for listening.
Is that an octopus? Wow.
Whoa.
Look at that. Look at all that sea life.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy. Anyways, bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.